Did you know that some 10% of women have committed suicide due to body image, compared to only 4% of men? But at the same time, 13% of adults have committed suicide in total and have had distressing thoughts due to body image. When people criticize this kind of like trend of body positivity, and they criticize curvier women being on front covers, more plus-size models, they don't realize that they're so based in superficial and shallow thoughts that they're not actually thinking of the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is our health and our mental health.
Hi guys, I'm Maya, and I wanted to talk a little bit today about body image issues and my journey with body positivity and body trends. From as early as 10 years of age, women are made hyper-aware of their bodies. In the 90s and 2000s, magazine and television were the problem. They photoshopped the ideal 90-pound glamazon, Kate Moss, who told us nothing tastes as good as skinny feels, and ate cigarettes for breakfast. But at the end of the day, you could click off on the remote, close your magazine, and meet your friends at the mall. You saw real people with real bodies. Even iconic characters like Rachel Green and Carrie Bradshaw looked relatively normal. Yes, they were toned and thin, but they looked like regular people. Still, I would look at women with emaciated legs and jutting cheekbones, dreaming my way into their bodies as I grew up and my body changed. Then came the digital revolution. We saw the rise of BBLs and the Kardashian complex. Growing up, I was naturally thin and pretty athletic, but as soon as I hit puberty, my hips and curves came in. But I was lucky, and the timing was right in a way, because my body was naturally trending. It coalesced to what was popular at the time. I had swallowed myself into a 100-pound vegan waif, and now I felt way too skinny and wanted a bigger butt, bigger boobs, and extremely small waist, even though I used to be very insecure of my bigger butt growing up and always wanted much smaller hips, so there wasn't really any winning. But then it was the 2010s. Body positivity was in, allegedly. The Victoria's Secret shape wasn't sexy enough. We all wanted more, more, more. The squat challenge had progressed into full, intense glute workouts. We were all just trying to grow, but also be small in some places. There really was no winning. Then cultural appropriation from celebrities meant we also tried to emulate the beauty standards that Black women and women of color had set way back into the 2000s with video vixens and celebrities like Beyonce and J-Lo, who at the time were even criticized for being too fat. Now they didn't even have enough curves. So there really was this weird progression into an extreme kind of body shape, and we're all kind of familiar with it. People like to blame Kim and Kylie's clan for taking their reign, but really it was the societal shift into the extreme. I would obsess with why I didn't look as extreme as the slim, thick models online when this was actually my natural body shape. I'm kind of like more curvy, and I still didn't think it was enough. Even those models, they didn't actually look anything like what they did without the help of Facetune. But the main thing we had in common was our body dysphoria.
Body dysphoria is a real issue, and it seems that even when a woman feels too fat, there's also the women who, in a slightly less serious way, that were criticized for being too skinny. They also are offended, even though it's not a societal problem. Just commenting on somebody's body is none of your business. You should never discuss what someone can't fix in 10 seconds. And for me, the moment that I realized that I didn't fully try to constrict my eating, but just naturally I started not craving food and using it as a way to control things. So I ended up becoming anemic and losing my period, and that was a real wake-up call for me. It wasn't really about just looking super skinny. I was no longer healthy, and that's what a lot of women go through. They sacrifice anything to make their body look a certain way, whether that's getting plastic surgery or just simply not eating or not eating correctly. So after feeling too fat, now I felt super skinny, and as a natural girl, there was no way to resolve this other than going to get procedures, but actually there was a way. And that way was what I discovered, my love for fitness and health, and hand in hand, people don't realize that fitness doesn't mean just going to the gym all the time. Fitness can be anything that boosts your endorphins, makes you go outside and do cardio. But for me, I did personally find a lot of healing in the gym because I really love the motto of just kind of eating as much and as healthy as you can for the sake of your body and your muscles to grow, not just to get as small as you can be, but actually to grow and to look in for your best and to get stronger. So one day I just realized it's time to change. I was gonna start actually trying to eat more, not for any other reason, but to be healthy. And my relationship with food and with my body image started to change. I didn't realize how lucky I was before with how healthy my body was, my working body, until I started to feel different. But again, this process didn't happen overnight. It was a process of self-love, and it took some time. I knew I was being ungrateful before. Finally, I realized, and it was a mix of body positivity and body neutrality, both seeing the beauty in my body, seeing the beauty in other women's bodies, in every shape and size, but also there was an element of body neutrality, and that means not really placing as much emphasis on how you look and realizing that people don't actually look at you or think about you as much as you think about yourself. It's actually all in our heads, really, and that kind of led to confidence. So I was focusing less on this fantasy image of what I want to be, and instead channeling all this energy into health and fitness. I got serious about lifting and eating right and eating a lot, and the more muscle I gained, and this included a lot of fat at the start, the healthier I became, and inadvertently the better I ended up looking. So the happier I became, the more comfortable and confident I felt, and the more confident I acted. I exuded self-love, and that shone from within me more than any body ratio ever could. It wasn't really just hitting the gym 5 times a week. It was this aspect of looking after myself with self-love rather than self-hate. My motivation shifted from just being the hottest I could be to being the healthiest and strongest I could be, both in body, mind, and soul. I became spiritual through this, more so before, because I started looking at myself as a human being that needs to actually take care and see the goddess within herself. And while I ended up getting the results I originally wanted in terms of the body look, it wasn't really what I found the greatest joy in with this journey. And now, having a teenage sister and a bigger online community, which includes women, I feel it's my responsibility never to let a woman feel the way I did. Sometimes when I look back at the obsession I had, I see myself as a different person, a hurt little girl, and I see other women feel the same way, online and offline. But I know that this is shared with so many other women, those whose faces I know and others I may never see, and that makes me really sad. But I am hopeful for the next generation of women. But the battle is not over. In what seemed like a win for natural beauty in the early 2020s and the late 2010s, BBLs seemed to become accessible and were no longer seen as that coveted. Over time, people kind of got tired of this aesthetic, and even it was kind of seen as working class for the peasants and normal people. So celebrities started to shift away from this body type that for some people is actually pretty natural. Some people do have a more curvy body type. Kim Kardashian herself emerged looking like a white woman again, with a shrunken body, a downsized butt, and the resurgence of the skinny is in trend began. It wasn't just her, of course, but it seems like every 10 years fashion shifts, and so do body trends. It used to be every 20 years, and now it's become every 10 years, or even every 2 years now with fast fashion. And that's being reflected on our physical selves too, which I think is just ridiculous. I say this with complete sarcasm when I say skinny is in, no body is in, but when you look online, it seems to be much different. A couple of years ago, the term heroin chic started resurfacing, and I immediately said no. We are not doing this again. I may not have grown up in the 90s, but I know what that did to a huge generation of women, and the early 2000s were also terrible. In the way that we heal the cycle of our generational trauma within our family, we need to also heal the cycle of eating disorders, aesthetic monitoring, and extreme hyper self-objectification within our sisterhood. The worst thing is that a lot of the time I see women putting down other women in order to look better and win men. But we need to really realize that men are not the prize. The prize is living inside the body that you have, this womanly, magical body, one that only you can experience.
I'm guilty of it too. I still try to model and make money from my body, from social media, and I want to look the best I can. And yes, a lot of that has internalized the male gaze. I can't say I'll ever feel like that there's no more room for improvement. Even if I now feel like I have my dream body, I always still want to go improve and want more. But the goal isn't to stop wanting to improve. The goal is to realize that you should be happy as you are now, and anything else that you do should be for yourself and for motivation. As humans, we want to improve naturally, but we still need to feel happy within ourselves at all times. This is your starting point, and you need to be grateful with whatever you have. We need to be hopeful that our sisters, our daughters, don't have to go through what many of us did. We will kill the societal disease as it dies out of our generations. We will be killing these body trends that come and go. What they don't realize when they say that body trends come and go is that we make the trends and we have the power to stop them. Instead of focusing on achieving a certain aesthetic that's rooted in racism, classism, sexism, and the male gaze, whether you do end up dressing for the male gaze or not, this is your aesthetic, this is what we have produced, and we can't really change against it. We just have to know that we shouldn't criticize ourselves or our bodies, and we have to embrace what we are and how we feel most beautiful. When you say you're doing something for yourself, whether that's getting filler, there's no problem with that, but you need to really be doing it for yourself. Put on that bikini, put on that crop top, go makeup free. Do it even if it's difficult until it no longer makes you uncomfortable. Trust me, I used to be one of the most insecure people in the world. In my head, at least, that's how it felt to me. Slowly, I became the most confident woman I know, just by faking confidence until it no longer was an act, and also understanding the value within myself that wasn't just surface level. It was part of my true being. Many of you out there may have reached this goal, but we always have our doubts. It's never too late to act like the goddesses you are and uplift other goddesses, because another woman's beauty is not the absence of your own. Every woman deserves to feel beautiful because every woman is beautiful, and you need to see what we all see. Today, I want you to do one thing that pushes you out of your comfort zone. For some, that may be easy. For others, it may be as small of a thing as just wearing the dress that they are too scared to wear. I'm sure you look amazing in it. Whatever it is that you end up doing, go home at the end of the day, do your face routine, look in the mirror, and tell yourself 5 things that you love about your body. Put on that bikini. Everyone will look at you like the goddess you are. You just have to own it. You need to realize this, because in this life, you are the only one person that will always be with you until the day that you die. You're your own one true love, and you need to own it.